Hey y'all, it's Ricky from Ricky's Pretties, and I am finally back with you guys with another video. I know it's been a good little minute since I did one, and that is because I sliced my finger open trying to sharpen a kitchen knife, and this was a really ugly cut. I had to go to the ER and they glued it, and so you know, my hands are already not very pretty. They're scarred up from various jobs that I've had in the past and activities that I've done, and but this was super ugly, and I just didn't want to subject you guys to that. So I let it heal, and yeah, this will make a mark, but whatever, it's okay. At least I didn't lose it. That's the good thing. Okay, so let's get on with our project. What I have is we're gonna make a night light out of this jar that I got from Dollar Tree. People like to steal the lids off of these at my Dollar Tree. It is usually a copper color, and so I had to grab a lid off of another Dollar Tree jar to put on this, and it had a top that came out like a ball jar, you know, like a ball canning jar. So I just glued this in here because I don't want that to be loose. So you can do that if they have thefted the copper lids from your Dollar Tree jar. You can find another lid that fits and put it on there, and they never know. So now they do, but they wouldn't know otherwise because they just don't pay attention. They periodically have these jars at the Dollar Tree, and I absolutely love them. I think they're beautiful, and I like crafting with them. So if they don't have it at your Dollar Tree right now, they will get them back in. They pretty much periodically always have these. But yeah, we're gonna be using this today. And then I have some Mod Podge over here. I've got a couple of tools. I have a paintbrush, and I have a pick-me-up tool. These are great for picking up sequins and other tiny little things, which we'll be doing today. And then I have some bits and bobs. My friend Debbie makes these little resin roses, and she sells bling and stuff like that. Kiki Sale, I will link that in the description box below so you can find her. You do have to be in the United States in order to purchase from her, and you have to have an actual Facebook profile with a picture, or she will not approve you due to scammers and things like that. So, but I get a lot of my little bits and bobs from her, and I got all of these things from her that I'm going to be using in my project today. And also I get from her these little mulberry flowers. They're super pretty. I've got these little rosebuds. I've got a couple of these. I don't know if we'll be using all of this, but we're going to just, you know, kind of wing it when we get to that part. I have this is a coaster light that I got on Amazon. It has 3M, so it will stick to anything. And this is what we're going to use for the light. It has a flash feature, and it has like a slow blink, and it has a continuous on. So you can do various different things with it. I really like these for projects. They're kind of nifty, actually. So you can pick up a pack of these on Amazon for not a whole lot of money. I have a piece of scrap lace here, and I have another piece of scrap lace that we're going to use to decorate. I have my bronze finger rub that I use all the time. This is Doc Holliday Colors, and this I bought at Hobby Lobby. I use this all the time. And then I have these are this is rice paper for decoupage. This brand is Stamperia. They have a website, but you have to be a retailer or a wholesaler in order to buy directly off of their website. But you can find wholesalers and retailers on Etsy that will have Stamperia products. So Etsy is a great place to pick these up. If you want to look on Etsy to find Stamperia rice papers, they really have a lot of beautiful things. And this is actually 2 sheets. I've already used a lot of this for another project, but we'll be using this today. And let's see, I have tissue paper, just plain white tissue paper that I have used a rotary tool to cut into little half-inch pieces, and then I cut those down with my scissors into smaller squares that will fit inside these little spots here. So I tried to make them about 1/2 inch. If they are a little bigger or smaller, that's not really going to matter that much, you'll see. We're gonna kind of go for a rice paper look with this. This is my vision. I hope it turns out, you know how it is with vision. Sometimes you get what you have envisioned, and sometimes it's a disaster, but hopefully we won't be creating a disaster today. We'll find out. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna set this bling aside. We'll be using that last. What I want to do first is I'm just going to stick this lace down to the top of the lid. We'll be trimming that off, and the reason I did this instead of putting it, you know, I could have put that on here before I glued this lid inside of here, but the copper lids that normally come with this jar are not made like this. It's just all one piece. So I just thought, you know, no matter what lid you have, what lid you're able to find to put on your jar, if you have little thieves like we do in our Dollar Tree. I can't believe I just said that, but it's true. They take things and they do other things too. We'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, I'm just gonna glue this to the top of this with the Mod Podge is what I'm gonna do. That's my plan. We'll see how it works out. So let's just go ahead and do that. The other thing that they do at my Dollar Tree was I have blonde hair, you know, it's dyed, of course, you know, I use Miss Clairol, and well, it's not Miss Clairol, but you know, I have blonde hair, I color it, and I was in a pinch, and so I hardly ever buy boxed colors. I usually go to the beauty supply store to get what I need, and but this time I was in a pinch, so I just got a box of blonde from Dollar Tree, and I got it home, and it just so happens it was about this time of year, or earlier in the year. The power was out. We had a big ice storm, and you know, I've been doing my hair since I was 12, so I could do it with my eyes closed. I didn't need power. But this time I kind of did, because after I got it in my hair and waited the appropriate amount of time, I went in there to look to see, you know, if it was done before I went to wash it out. And it was not the right color, and I was about to have a heart attack, and I went and dug through the trash just to make sure I hadn't accidentally picked up the wrong box of color, and I did not. It said that it was lightest natural blonde, but when I inspected the tube that was inside the box, it was black. Oh yes, my hair was dyed black. And I was not very happy with that outcome at all, because, you know, I had only done my roots. And so I went around looking like an Oreo for a day or two until I could figure out what I wanted to do to fix it. And this is not going to work, so I'm just going to glue it. I'm going to use E6000 on this instead, y'all. I fly by the seat of my pants. Y'all know this by now. But this will hold it, and this is what we're going to do. So anyways, yeah, I had a convention to go to that day. So I just put it up in a little ponytail and walked in there like, yeah, I meant to do this. Yeah, my friends knew better though. They were laughing and they thought it was hysterical, which it kind of was. And, you know, I laugh about it now. It was funny. I posted about it on Facebook. It was great. Yeah. So anyways, be careful when you're going shopping for things like that at Dollar Tree, because you might have some evil people around that will do things like that just for fun. And you know, I don't think it was an associate that did that. I think it was just some character that was in there shopping that thought it would be funny, you know, which I'm sure is plenty funny for them, but it was not all that funny for me. Because I ultimately decided to dye my hair black. And then, you know, I looked goth for a little while. It did not suit my personality at all. So, you know, eventually I changed it back to blonde. It took a little bit of doing to get that done. This lace is not wanting to stick on here, but I'm going to get it to do what I want it to do. It will do what I want it. You will cooperate. Oh, let's see what happens here. I think it's starting to stick a little bit now. Once that grabs, that E6000 will hold it, and it won't be going anywhere. I'm just going to kind of go around it with my little paintbrush. See if I can get that to hold. My paintbrush is like not coming apart. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, that's sticking now. So we'll set that aside and let that dry now that it's sticking. So E6000, guys, don't use Mod Podge because that's just going to give you headaches. And we'll set this aside and let that dry. I'm going to set it over here out of sight. And then I'm going to set this other stuff over here too. And what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and start putting our little squares on my jar. I have wiped this down with alcohol, so hopefully, you know, even though I've touched it, it won't be too big of a disaster. And all we're going to do here is we're just going to apply Mod Podge to our little jar here in sections. And I will tell you to use Mod Podge on this. Don't use, you know, PVA glue like, you know, Elmer's glue or something mixed with water. Because I did experiment with it before I started this, and the Mod Podge dries much more clear, and that's what you want. You don't want, you know, the glue is going to leave some residue behind, and you don't really want that. So use this. And I'm using my pickup tool, and I'm just going to start putting these here. I'm going to do this for a good little minute. If they wrinkle, it's no big deal, okay? You just want them on there. Just kind of tap them in place. So you can see this pickup tool really helps to make this go a lot faster than it would otherwise. I really like my little pickup tool. That one's a little big. We'll set that one aside. I don't want it to be that big. They don't have to be perfect, but you do want to try to, you know, fit them inside the little squares. If they're not exactly perfect, that's okay. And if your glue starts drying out, you may have to apply some more glue. Because you want it to stick. Well, that one went on there crooked. Yeah. My glue's starting to get dry, so let's put a little bit more on there. Get that one down and that one too. We're going to go over this again with Mod Podge when we get all done. Oops, wrong end. Like, why don't you just cover the whole entire thing with the tissue paper? And it's because of the way I want this to look. I like the raised edges on this. really well. And so to get the look that I want, I'm doing it this way. If you want to try this and just cover the whole thing with the tissue paper, you could do that. There's no law that says you can't. This is just the way I'm doing it. Now, if you guys hear a little hum, that is my space heater because it is currently very cold outside. It's in the teens. We just had like 3 inches of sleet fall over the past couple of days. And yeah, so nobody's going anywhere right now. Nobody's doing anything. And it is just so cold, and my little craft room gets cold. So I had to turn on the space heater in order to do this video today because it's just cold. Okay, so now that those are on there, I'm going to go ahead and go over them just very carefully with the Mod Podge to get those soaked and sealed down. You want it to go all the way through the tissue paper. Okay guys, you get the idea, and because this is going to take a good little minute to complete this jar, I'm going to do the rest of it off camera exactly the way that I just did, and then we will come back. Now, you might ask what I'm going to do up here where these are little half triangles. What I will do is I will cut some of these in half, and then I will put little pieces up here for that. Okay, and also down here. I'm going to do that down there too. So when I get this all finished, we'll be back, and then I'll show you what we're going to do next. I'll see y'all in a little bit. Okay, we are back and ready to move on to the next step. And what we're going to do first is I'm just going to go ahead and trim this lace around the edge of this lid with my little fussy cut scissors, most likely, if they will work for me. It's all stuck down. So I'm just gonna trim that off and save this for scrappies for something else. Okay, and see, that looks pretty. Yay! Okay, so next what we're going to do is we're going to glue our light to the inside. Our on-off is here, and instead of doing the sticky side with the 3M down like this, I'm going to glue it the other direction this way, because if I do that, I can turn it on from here. I won't need to, you know, we won't put anything in the middle, but I won't need to unscrew the lid in order to turn the light on and off. So I'm just going to go ahead and tack that in there. And in the meantime, we're going to move on and start decoupaging our design. And I went ahead and tore these out, and I'm just going to put one on each side of the jar, which, you know, does look like rice paper. That's what I was hoping for, so yay! And I'm going to put one in the front and one in the back. So I'm just going to go ahead, I don't want to get this everywhere. So I'm just going to put some of this Mod Podge down on the back side of this. I'm just going to place it like that. I'm not using saran wrap for this because this rice paper is pretty thick and it's not going to tear the way that napkins do. So you don't have to be quite as careful with it as you do a napkin. And I'm just gonna kind of press that down because it's got that, you know, the squares and everything underneath it. So I just want to make sure it's stuck good and that there's not going to be any air bubbles underneath any part of it. So we're really just going to push it down onto the glass. Okay. Alright, that looks really pretty. And so now I am going to turn it over. And we're going to put the other one here. It's going to try to roll on me, so I'm going to have to make sure that I got it centered, you know, before I place this. Just going to put a good coat on here. Okay. Let's see which way I had this. Okay, I'm going to put this in the same direction. So I don't want to get it upside down. Make sure your pattern is going the same way. And it needs to go about right there. And again, we're just going to kind of press it down onto the glass, into the design so that it sticks with no air bubbles. Just press it on down into that lattice design there. Okay. And before I Mod Podge over that, I'm going to go ahead and apply some of my rub. Stick this in the water so it doesn't dry out. I'm going to get some of this on my finger, and then I'm just going to lightly, I want it to settle on top of these ridges here. I don't mind if it gets other, you know, inside there, but I really want it on the raised part. So that's where I'm going to try to keep my finger on top of the ridge. I'll move that over here and make it easier. And that just really brings out that design. Makes it look real pretty. And I'm just very lightly going over this with my finger. Again, like I said, I'm trying to stick to the ridges and not try to press so hard that it gets down in between, but if it does, that's fine. It'll kind of give it that antique look, which is cool. I like the antique look. It's gonna look pretty swanky for a Dollar Tree jar. It's not gonna look like you got it at Dollar Tree by the time you get done with this. I'm going to go ahead and put some around the edge up here too. And for this part, I'm really loading my finger up because I want to transfer a lot of the product onto the glass. And then I'm going to turn it down here. I'm going to do the same thing around this ridge down here. We're going to put some sealer on this. So right now I'm not going to Mod Podge over the whole thing because I am going to put a sealer on it in a few minutes once the Mod Podge dries, where I put on my rice paper. Okay, to me, I love that. I think it looks great. And so let me get a paper towel. I have one over here somewhere. I don't know where I put it. There it is. Okay. I knew I had one. I just didn't know where it was. I'm going to clean that off of my hands as much as possible. Plus, I need to blow up my brush. Alright, and now we're going to just go ahead and go over our rice paper. To seal that off. Make sure you go all the way out to the edge, you know where the white part is. You want every edge cut with this Mod Podge. On the other side, we'll do the same thing. Okay, that looks good, guys. So I'm going to let this dry, and then I'm going to apply a coat of water-based sealer all over the whole thing once the Mod Podge dries, and then I'll return to show you what it looks like. Okay, we'll be back shortly. Okay, guys, we're back, and our jar is beautiful. I hope you can see just how pretty this is. I've got 2 coats of this interior exterior water-based varnish. It's just, you know, craft section in Hobby Lobby. That's where I get this, and I love it. It's my favorite varnish. If you want to put more coats on yours, you can, but I think 2 coats is sufficient. It looks great, and I love it. I absolutely love how this has turned out. Okay, so now we need to work on our lid, and so we're gonna just kind of set this aside for a second. And I do have to tell you, I had to work with this light just a little bit because the size that it is originally is the same size as the interior of the jar. So when I tried to put the lid on, this got stuck down in here and wouldn't come out. So what I wound up doing is taking it out, and then I trimmed a little bit, you know, from around the edge of it. I trimmed just a little bit, like 1/8 of an inch, all the way around to give it more room to go down inside. And then I re-glued it, and I clamped it to make sure that it stayed tight against the lid while it dried. And I think it's pretty well set right now, so I'm going to go ahead and take it off there, and we'll screw this down so that we can, you want to put your lid on so that you know where the front and the back is, so that you'll know where you want your lace to end up. And so what I'm going to do is, you know, both of these look great. I don't know which front I want, this or this. They're both about the same, so we'll just go with this being the front. And so I'm going to measure this around. I'm just going to measure it around, and I'm going to cut it right there, right here. We'll set that aside. And what I'm going to do, because this is kind of plain, I'm not sure if I want to put, because this is kind of plain, I am going to stitch this beading around my lace, because I think that's going to be really pretty. I could just glue this and then glue this, but I think that would just be messy. I don't think it would look very professional. So I'm just going to measure this. These are plastic beads, by the way. They look metallic, but they're actually plastic. And so I'm going to go long instead of short and trim it here. Alright, I've already got some needle and thread here. I'm just going to use the light yellow, which is what that is. And I'm just going to start here on the back side. And I'm just going to put a stitch in here. Now I'm not going to stitch every one of these. I'm going to do like every 4. You don't want to pull it tight, guys. You just want it, you know, you don't want it to buckle. So don't pull it too tight. Just kind of pull it till it's taut. And I'm going to go down another 4. Just put another little stitch there. Can y'all see what I'm doing? Hopefully you can. I'm gonna come up here, go over that little section. I'm just tacking this down basically about every fourth bead. Okay guys, I'm going to go off camera and finish this up. And when I get back, we'll move on, okay? I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, I have got my little pearlies sewn onto my ribbon. It looks great. And now I've got one less thing that I have to glue down. And this thing was driving me crazy. So after much trial, error, and tribulation and frustration, I might add, I have decided that we're just going to have to do it this way, because I was trying, what I was going for is putting it in upside down this way and being able to just turn it on by hitting the top of the lid, but it will not work that way. So I turned it, I took the 3M tape off, turned it upside down this way, put it in here, and this is what we have. We'll just have to take the lid off of it in order to turn the light off and on, and it's going to be a much softer light, which I think will actually work better because it's going to be a night light. So yeah, we'll see what it does. But yeah, if you can figure out how to make it work the way I was going to, the original idea I think was sound if it would just have worked. I don't know how to make it do that though. I have tried everything I can possibly think of. I have driven myself absolutely crazy trying to figure that out. So this is what we're going to do. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. All right, so with that being said, let's put this lid on here. We're going to screw it down tight. And so we have the front of our jar, and we have the back of our jar, and really we don't have a front or a back yet because, you know, it's really just, they're both really pretty and both about the same. So we'll just go with, this will be the front and this will be the back. So I'm going to start this here in the back. I'm going to put a dot of hot glue down to hold it in place this way. I'm just gonna have this little edge sticking right up. You know, your lace may be different than mine. If it is, then you may not have to add the beads. You know, this was just kind of plain, so I wanted to add the little pearly beads going around because it just looked too plain to me. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use E6000, and my clear is not really cooperating very well today, so I'm going to use my the white. It's not going to show underneath anything, and plus I'll be able to see it a little bit better. I'm just going to go ahead and put that around, cap it so it doesn't go everywhere. And then we're just going to put this on. And work it till it's where we want it. Alright. Okay. And then I'm going to put another little spot of glue here halfway. Make sure that it stays put for us for the rest of the way around. Let's uncap this again. Stuff's so messy. But that's why we like crafting, isn't it, girls? Because it's messy. And it's fun. It's fun to be messy. Okay, let's put this cat back on here. Oh. No, you didn't. It was running away from me. It's rolling away. It's being ornery. Okay, and that's going to end up just right. So I'm going to put a little tack of glue there. Hold it in place. Alright. And you can't even really tell what's the front and what's the back. It just all kind of blends in. Cute, cute, cute. I love it. It's adorable already. But we're going to embellish the top just a little bit. Get rid of my glue strings because they're everywhere. Everywhere. Okay, now, since I don't have to worry about pushing this button here, I'm going to put this right in the middle because that's where I want it. So I'm going to start there. I love this little thing. I think it's pretty. It's pretty, pretty. Put a dab of glue out there to hold it while it dries. Get on there. You'll talk to your projects because I do. I don't really like them being ornery, but sometimes they just are. That's so pretty. Okay, that is on there. Now let me see. I've got clippers. See how these stick up? I'll just mush them down like that. And I'm gonna leave me a little tail on these so I can stick it in under something. Because that's probably what I'm gonna do. Okay, now let's see. Into these. Let me see how I want these to go. I kind of like that, so we'll kind of go with that. Put it down and make sure it stays. Next, I got stuff everywhere. Okay. And we'll put this down here. Move it in just a hair. There we go. Don't want this one there. Just gonna put glue right there. I want it. Set it down there. Oh yeah, that's pretty. I like it, I like it. Okay, now I want this little doodad to go there. We might need some more small doodads. I may have to go get some doodads, y'all. I don't know. We'll see. This glue is already getting messy. Okay, and another little dab right there. Probably too big of a dab for this little thing. But it won't go anywhere, will it? No. Okay. And then we've got this. Where do I want this to go? Up here. Let's see, what all have we got here? I'll put a couple of those in there. Put a little glue. Stick it in. That's pretty. And we can stick another one right there by it. I think that'll be pretty. So let's do that. I just kind of wing this, y'all, when I decide where to put stuff. I just kind of look at it and try to figure out where I want it to go. And then I put it there. Best I can. So basically just kind of wing it. Oh, the pink's right there, so I need something yellow over here. Here. Do I want it there or do I want it here? Let's see. I want this to go kind of back there. I'm going to tuck that one in right there. Get it in there before it dries. I don't want it on top of that. There we go. Okay. A little glue there. Let's get that off. Alright. And let's see. I'm going to get this to go here, because this is where I want it to go. That'll work. We'll just stick it right there. I'm just going to put this here. And glue around it. And then I'm just going to push it down in place. There we go. That works. I like it. It's beautiful. I'm going to put that one there. Oh, that looks so pretty. Now, where do we want this one? Do we want it up here? Or do we want it over here? Some glue on there. Let's see, where do I want this pink one to go? I don't want it to go right there, but it's kind of on the edge. Do I want it on the edge? I don't like it where it is. Let's see. Decisions. I think I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to find something else to go here. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. I might need a couple of little more blingy things, y'all. Can't ever have too much bling. I just need a couple of little small things. I don't think I got enough. Okay, that's pretty so far, but I think I need something here and maybe something here. So I'm going to go grab a couple of more things, put them on, and then I will be back with a picture for y'all. I'll show y'all what I did here in just a minute. Okay guys, so I added several more little pieces to this. I added one here, I added here, I added these two, and a little butterfly here, which I think makes it look absolutely amazing. I love how this turned out. I've got to get all the little glue strings off of it and let this set up before I mess with the lid and turn the light on and show you guys what it looks like. But I love this. I think it's so pretty. It looks amazing to me. I hope you guys like the project. And thanks for putting up with me and my trial and error. You know, we just kind of craft as we go around here. I don't do these things ahead of time. I don't make prototypes. So whatever we wind up with is what we wind up with. So thanks for sticking with me. I'm also really happy I recently reached 100 subscribers. I keep wanting to say prescribers, so I had to practice that before saying it. So thank you very much for watching and sticking with me and subscribing to my channel. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Keep telling your friends about me so I can keep growing my channel. And if you haven't already liked and subscribed, please do so. It does help. Every little bit helps. Thank you guys so much for joining me today, and I will see you next time. Easter's coming. I've got some things planned, so stay tuned. Bye-bye.